Whether it's an RPG or an FPS, an action-adventure or a strategic puzzle, video games cater to almost every interest. But the world of gaming is still misunderstood, even by gamers. Join us as we look deeper at video games and explore just what it is that captivates this audience. I'm Janice Davis, and this is Pixel Vision. When we sit in a movie theater, whether we're watching the latest blockbuster or a poignant drama, we as an audience assume a passive role. The plot is presented to us in a linear, non-negotiable sequence of events. We are not consulted on where the story goes or what happens to the characters we grow attached to. Of course, there's nothing wrong with this style of storytelling. But gaming offers a distinct alternative, one that separates it from almost every other medium. As a gamer, you're not the viewer, you're the actor. We find ourselves quickly invested in the characters because we're not just watching them, we're interacting with them. No other form of media can do this. Gaming places you in the story. Games are a relatively new form of storytelling. Only within the last few decades have the goals in video games been placed within the context of a story. Before that, gamers simply played for the sake of winning or beating someone else's score. But now, beating a game may mean saving an entire galaxy or completing a journey of new discovery. Actions such as slaying a dragon carry significantly more weight when you know who you're saving and what you're fighting for. Context is key. One of the early pioneers of game stories was the adventure game genre. The Secret of Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle are both old enough to be considered classics, but their tight writing and clever puzzles still hold up today. Games like this were among the first to prove that video games could be humorous while still portraying a compelling narrative. The Mass Effect series epitomizes the extraordinary limits of what games can accomplish. Across 3 games, players create their own character, including backstory and appearance, and make difficult, life-altering decisions. Of course, players are then faced with the consequences of those decisions. Intergalactic politics and conflicts carry over from one game to the next, often deciding whether certain characters live to fight another day or die tragic, heart-wrenching deaths. You can make enemies or forge friendships, take vengeful action or seek peaceful solutions, stay the course as a lone ranger or pursue companionship and romance. All shepherds are created equal, but they're never the same. When Mass Effect 3 was released, many gamers were disappointed with the way the series concluded. Even though some fans felt betrayed, the controversy surrounding the ending of such a beloved series illustrates just how powerful the stories in video games can be and how much they mean to the fans who invest in them. Many were moved by the trilogy, and many just weren't ready for the story to end. Outside of phenomenons like Star Wars, you don't see that happen all that often. Not every video game tells its story the same way. The beauty of games is sometimes found in removing aspects like dialogue or action, challenging the player to figure out things on their own, with limited to no instruction. While Journey is void of all dialogue, it reveals its story through symbolism, metaphor, and a sweeping score that'll excite any fan of art house cinema. Speaking of art house, independent games are branching out, finding completely new ways to tell stories. Kentucky Route Zero places you in a curious mystery, leaving players unsure of what their choices will mean. And the visual style creates a world that is both spooky and immersive, despite looking otherworldly. Sword and Sorcery also comes to mind. It particularly emphasizes music as a constant theme, as well as cycles of the moon. The story progresses depending on what days of the month you play it. Something like that could never be achieved by a book or film. Of course, not every hero is a good guy. As video games continue to provide countless opportunities to roleplay, players may find themselves filling the shoes of a villain or an anti-hero as well. Film remains unchanged regardless of who's watching it with you. Spoiler alert, the Titanic will always sink. In games, however, the number of players may significantly change the experience. Games like Left 4 Dead rely on multiple players working together in order to overcome the overwhelming hordes, which in turn crafts a story between a group of friends. More and more developers today are embracing cooperative experiences, even crafting brand new story content specifically designed for multiplayer. With the next generation of games waiting just around the corner, we've only begun to scratch the surface. As game developers continue to imagine new worlds, the potential for immersive, interactive storytelling is limited only by human imagination. Games and their stories are continuing to evolve and diversify. The possibilities are endless, and the future is bright.